again, boys and girls. Another day at Comicon has arrived, and I am still Colin Carlisle, your live cam tour guy. We got a lot of requests yesterday for Guild Wars 2, so that's going to start off today, which is why I'm right here, which is the Soft booth. So I'm going to come over here and find someone who I can talk to. Seeing a lot of people with people already. People I can find. Right to the crowds already.
Yeah, everybody's.
So there's a dude with an NC soft lantern here who's not doing anything it looks like. So I'm find my way over there. Try not to run over this little girl.
Right here for you Comicon fans, because we love you fans. You guys are the ones that support us, so we come out, we give you guys the goods. We got the gameplay over here, we got X-Men Destiny, we got Spider-Man Every Time. Definitely drop by, play those games.
Hey man, how's it going?
Good, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm doing a live tour for GameSpot, and I wanted to know if there was someone I could talk to about Guild Wars 2.
Absolutely. Over here we have Colin Johansson, he's a lead content designer for Marine It for Guild Wars 2.
X-Men Universe.
Hi, how you doing? What do you know? Another Colin. So what was your title again?
I'm the lead content designer on Guild Wars 2.
Lead content designer. That's like an important job. That's more than just like sitting at a desk drinking soda.
I try to do a little more than that every now and then.
Alright, so I got a lot of requests yesterday to come back and look at Guild Wars 2, which I kind of glossed over. So, what do you want to tell me about your game? I watched someone
Go ahead, hop on in there and play, man.
Going on in the city, and we have the MRP.
So, Guild Wars 2 is basically our next evolution from Guild Wars 1. The big idea here is that we've taken Guild Wars 1 was kind of a cooperative MMORPG. It was not a fully open, persistent world. Guild Wars 2 is a true open, persistent world. You'll be running around in the world with hundreds and thousands of other players at the same time.
It's kind of like the cities were in Guild Wars 1.
Yeah, just like the cities, except the entire game is like that.
Right. I played a little of the first one, and basically everything is an instance party kind of deal. So
yeah, we definitely wanted to get rid of that sense. A big part of the design behind Guild Wars 2 is building a sense of community between our players. So having this open, persistent world, we've gotten rid of the traditional concept of basic MMO quests, where you walk up to a guy, you get a big old block of text you got to read. The guy says something horrible is happening in the world. You go over there and there's actually nothing happening. You kill some creatures, you come back and get a reward. Those kind of quests do not exist in Guild Wars 2. Instead, we've replaced them with dynamic events. You can actually see there's a dynamic event going on right here, right now, where pirates are trying to hold this village captive, and they're trying to hold them for ransom, and they're basically trying to blow up the village and saying, hey, you need to pay us money to get us out of here. And you're trying to kill the pirates and drive them out of here before the villagers cave in and pay the money. This is an event that happens for everybody in the game at the same time. Everyone can join in and take part in this. And the event dynamically scales, so the more players that are here doing it, the more pirates that are going to show up, the harder the pirates get. So the event gets more interesting and fun no matter how many players are here.
That's really cool.
And that's part of building that sense of community. Also, the events have impacts on the world. So a traditional MMO quest, it happens and ends, and nothing in the world actually changes. It doesn't mean anything.
Of course, you make a new character, you come back, and hey, there's the quest again.
Exactly. And in our game, because of this event system, every time you play through the game, the world can be completely different, because the events actually change the world. If a Centaur army attacks a town, and you're not able to defend the town, the Centaurs will actually take the town over, and the merchants in there are lost. All the stuff that's in there is lost to the players. And a new event kicks off to liberate the town and bring it back. If you're unable to do that in an amount of time, the Centaurs start spreading out around the world, and new events kick off where they start attacking other locations. They start going into a forest and chopping down trees and building siege weapons out of those trees, and they bring them back to defend the town they took over. So these events actually change and persist and spread out across the world to make the world constantly changing for all the players that are in it.
That's really cool. So I'm looking at the kind of skill set this character has. What can you tell me about the classes available in this game?
So we have 8 professions in Guild Wars 2. We've announced 7 of them so far. There's the Ranger, the Elementalist, the Warrior, the Necromancer, the Thief, the Engineer, and the Guardian, and 1 unused profession at this point. The one we're seeing right now is the Elementalist, and the Elementalist's abilities in combat is to basically they have different attunements that they can swap between. So you just saw him swap in combat from fire attunement to air attunement. Yeah, and he basically gets a completely different first 5 skills on his skill bar based on those attunements he's swapping between. This allows him to basically change the role and change the abilities he has in combat, so he can play a different way and have different abilities that he's swapping between.
Alright. So what kind of healer class is there? I didn't hear you name one.
So there is no dedicated healing class in Guild Wars 2. There are no monks, there are no priests, nothing like that. One of the reasons we did this is we want to get rid of the concept of the Holy Trinity in a typical MMO. We think people hate that moment where you're trying to form a group, you've got 7 players and you need that extra player and you need a monk and you're like, oh, we need a healer, and your buddy's like, I don't want to play a healer, I just want to play with you guys, and you have to tell him, no, you can't play with us, and you sit around for 45 minutes trying to find somebody to play the healer. We're getting rid of that concept entirely. Instead, characters in our game, all of the professions, can constantly change abilities and things they're capable of doing hot in combat while they're playing through the game, so that you're reacting to the scenarios the game is presenting to you, and you don't need any one specific set of rules. Instead, everybody is capable of changing the abilities and positioning that they place in combat, so you're reacting to the combat, and everybody's working together with the professions they have. Everybody has a dedicated healing skill 6 on their bar, so they're able to help keep themselves alive, and then they have skills that help support other players, but they cannot directly target to heal other players. The only healing in the game and buffing is untargeted heals that provide like AoE heals, where you put a little ring down on the ground that people can see and run into it, but you're never selecting other players, so you're never...
That's actually really cool.
It helps get away from playing the UI, you know, in a traditional MMO combat.
And really, that's kind of where all the MMOs are going, which I'm find is a really refreshing change. It stops being this push the button when the cooldown's done and wait for the game to catch up, and becomes more of a game that you're playing.
Yeah, you know, if you play a great action game, if you stop and think about where you're looking all the time, you're watching what's going on the screen. It's more immersive. You're watching the actions and things you're doing. And in Guild Wars 2, we're trying to do the same thing. You know, you're watching the things that enemies are doing on the screen. You're watching what your allies are doing. You're not sitting there watching UI bars move up and down all day and watching little icons appear and disappear. You're really paying attention to the action on the screen. And it just makes the game much more immersive. It makes combat feel like it's real. You know, you can see just watching him play. You can move when you're using all your skills. You can dodge out of the way of attacks and avoid projectiles. He's swapping between all these attunements and abilities, and it makes combat real visceral. You just feel like it's a real meaty thing that you're a part of.
Awesome. One other question I had about the classes. Now, in Guild Wars 1, you basically had your main class and a subclass. Is that going to return?
No, in Guild Wars 2, you have one core profession. And that's to help basically provide a sense of, this is the thing that I want to be. I want to be a pet class, then you're the ranger. I want to be the summoner class, you're the necromancer. I want to be the elemental class, and based on elements, you're the elementalist, and you're able to look at that class, understand basically the kind of trope that class is, and have that. Another benefit to having that, instead of having the mixed professions, is it allows us to balance the game and understand exactly what you're able to do. And we're able to make sure that people don't make really, really bad builds by combining bad professions together. Guild Wars 1 was incredibly complicated, and we found casual players found it way too complicated, because
honestly, that's why I didn't keep playing it.
We're bringing you Spider-Man.
We throw 2,000 skills at you and say, pick from these and make your build. And there's something really fun about that if you're a really advanced player, but new players just could not get over it, and we throw a lot of people away. So instead, the first 5 skills on your skill bar in Guild Wars 2 are based on the weapon that you use. And so we can help guarantee that way that, hey, you actually are going to have skills that work really well together based on the weapons that we give you. And then the remaining skills are the ones that work like a traditional Guild Wars 1 bar, where you actually have a list of skills you can pick from, and you basically make your build with those. And then you have the ability, so many professions can swap weapons in combat. So a warrior, you might have 2 axes, and your first 5 skills are your 2 axe skills. And then you can swap to a bow, and suddenly you're a ranged character, you're able to fight from the back line, and you're just as effective as a ranged character as any other profession. You're just playing a different style of combat at that point as a warrior. the Elementalist, you can see they have the attunements that they swap between. They swap out the first 5 skills on your bar. So you're changing the way that your character plays based on doing those in combat. And it provides a level of depth. So as a casual player, you might only ever need to use fire attunement. You don't need to understand swapping between attunements. And as you get much better at the game, you start to understand swapping between those attunements. Same thing with using different weapon sets. You know, it allows you to swap, and it has kind of built-in complexity that you learn as you play through, but you can be just as effective with just one weapon like through the game.
Alright, so I'm going to ask now a couple questions about, do you have any notions yet on the basic system requirements?
We haven't yet revealed any information about how we're going to handle the system requirements. We're constantly trying to update our system to run on lower-end machines. I will say, the video cards that we run the game on at ArenaNet, you cannot buy them anymore. Literally, we have to order them off eBay to get our hands on them. So I hope that helps give it an idea of at least the video card requirements that you're going to have.
Alright, how about any kind of notion on beta dates?
We haven't revealed any final information about the beta at this point. This year we're doing a closed alpha. Based on the outcome of that alpha, we'll determine when we're doing a beta, and based on the outcome of that beta, we'll determine what our release date will be. So at this point, we really don't know. It's when it's done and when we're happy with it. We'll progress through each one of those.
Alright, what's the website?
Website is guildwars2.com.
Guildwars2.com. You were also calling, just like me. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys, and hopefully this all keeps working out for you. It looks like a really great innovation in the Guild Wars gameplay.
Thank you, Paul.
Alright, thank you very much. So that was that, and I'm gonna have to move on. So